Protesters gathered Saturday in Washington, D.C. to rally against President Donald Trump's federal law enforcement intervention in the nation's capital. According to Associated Press, the group marched through the streets from Meridian Hill Park to Freedom Plaza chanting, "Free D.C." and "End the occupation now." Trump has increased the number of federal law enforcement and immigration agents on city streets while also taking over the Metropolitan Police Department and activating thousands of National Guard members. Last month, Trump said he wants $2 billion from Congress to beautify Washington. The District of Columbia on Thursday challenged Trump's use of the National Guard in Washington, asking a federal court to intervene even as he plans to send troops to other cities in the name of driving down crime. The White House said deploying the Guard to protect federal assets and assist law enforcement is within Trump's authority as president. Members of the D.C. National Guard have had their orders extended through December, according to a Guard official. While that does not necessarily mean all those troops will serve that long, it is a strong indication that their role will not wind down soon. The Republican president has credited the weeks-long surge in Washington with reining in crime and said he plans to send the National Guard into Chicago and Baltimore, despite staunch opposition in those Democrat-led cities. In the nation's capital, Mayor Muriel Bowser, a Democrat, has backed up some of Trump's claims that crime is down during the takeover. Still, data shows and critics argue that crime was already falling before the surge.
DC statehood.
This is our home. We need to fight and we need to resist, and we don't need the National Guard or ICE, especially on our street and our neighborhood, and it's happening our home, so we need to raise our voice.
It's almost like a war state. Like, what's going on? Why is this being allowed to happen?
Attacking and terrorizing Kherson, D.C. Sitting in a tree. Attacking and terrorizing Kiev, D.C.
Oh my goodness. Not just being kidnapped, just snatched up, taken away from their families, their kids, thrown in cars and sent to who knows where. What kind of due process is that? That is not constitutional. It's inhumane. It's horrible. It's horrifying. And no, that should not be happening. That should be stopped. This is not godlike. This is evil, the corruption. You need to get on your knees and pray for forgiveness, and you need to do the right thing, okay? It's all about money. It's all about money. It's not about the people, because the people are being treated as if they're not even cared about. Okay, this is not a government for the people.
End the occupation now! End the occupation now! End the occupation now! I need it! I got to have it!
Yeah, well, I'm worried about so many things that this administration is doing in its authoritarian nature. But what they're doing to D.C. is worse than they're doing to any other city. And because they have the right to do it, we don't have a home rule. We don't have our own senators or members of the House of Representatives. So we're at the mercy of a dictator like this, a wannabe dictator.
It's not just the immigrant community, it's everybody who's really worried about what the future holds, especially when you have an administration that doesn't abide by the rule of law, that is rolling back democracy at a warp speed. and is the biggest grift on the American economy that we've ever seen.
President Donald Trump said Friday the U.S. will work out security guarantees for Ukraine. According to Associated Press, speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, the president was asked about plans to help Ukraine in its war with Russia and said, "We'll work that out. We'll help them." He said he wants to save lives and that when it comes to security guarantees, Europe will be first and by far. He didn't offer more details but said, "It'll end all of a sudden. It's going to come together, you watch." Trump also issued a stark warning to Venezuela's military against further provocative action. "If they do put us in a dangerous position, they will be shot down," Trump said. The Defense Department said late Thursday that 2 Venezuelan military aircraft flew near a U.S. Navy vessel, calling it a highly provocative move and warning Maduro's government against further actions. The Venezuelan military action came after the U.S. earlier this week carried out a deadly strike on a boat U.S. officials say was carrying drugs from Venezuela. Trump and other administration officials are warning that they will continue to carry out such U.S. military strikes to stem the flow of illicit drugs by Latin American drug cartels. Asked about the immigration raid in Georgia that resulted in the detentions of some 475 people at a sprawling Georgia site where South Korean auto company Hyundai manufactures electric vehicles, Trump said he had only recently learned about it, but said ICE was doing its job. "As I understand it, a lot of illegal aliens, some not the best of people, but we had a lot of illegal aliens working there," Trump said. "They came through illegally. They came into our country. So we have to do our job."
And what about the security guarantees aspect of that with Ukraine, sir?
Well, we'll work that out. We'll help them. Look, we want to save a lot of lives, so we'll do something with that. I think people expect that. We'll help them. Europe will be first in by far, and they want to be first, and they want to see it end. Europe wants to see it end, and it'll end. It'll end all of a sudden. It's going to come together. You watch. Yeah, did you want something? Right here. Yeah, behind you, please. Yes.
You haven't been shy about taking bold, decisive, offensive action to protect American values. Strikes in Iran, the strikes this past Tuesday on the positively ID'd Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists. Is that going to be a critical function of the Department of War?
It depends on the individual instance, you know. We don't want drugs coming in from Venezuela or anybody else or any place else, so we'll be tough on that. We don't want human trafficking. We don't want to see people coming in where they open their prisons from all over the world and they dump their prisoners into our country, which is what they did in the Biden administration.
Also mentioned Venezuela. I want to ask one more follow-up question on that. On the U.S. strike on a boat tied to a Venezuelan drug cartel, the Maduro regime is pushing back today. In fact, they say the U.S. seeks regime change through military threat. Your reaction to those words, and also, would you like to see regime change in Venezuela?
Well, we're not talking about that, but we are talking about the fact that you had an election which was a very strange election, to put it mildly. I'm being very nice when I say that. I can only say that billions of dollars of drugs are pouring into our country from Venezuela. The prisons of Venezuela have been opened up to our country. They've taken their prisoners, the worst prisoners, murderers, Tren de Aragua. The worst prisoners that you can ever imagine are now happily living in the United States of America. Now, many of them we've gotten out. It's not easy to get them out because of the liberal system that we're working with in many cases, not in all cases. And when I see boats coming in, like loaded up the other day with all sorts of drugs, probably fentanyl mostly, but all sorts of drugs, and we're going to take them out. And if people want to have fun going on the high seas or the low seas, they're going to be in trouble. I will tell you, boat traffic is substantially down in the area that happened. They called it the runway. It's a runway to the United States. And boat traffic is very substantially down on the runway. You can imagine why. I think anybody that saw that is going to say, I'll take a pass. I don't even know about fishermen. They may say, I'm not getting on the boat.
What happens
I'm not going to take a chance.
What happens if Venezuela flies jets over U.S. naval vessels again?
Well, I would say they're going to be in trouble. We'll let them know about that. We heard that happen, but it wasn't really over, not like they described. But I would say, General, if they do that, you have a choice of doing anything you want, okay? If they fly in a dangerous position, I would say that you can, you or your captains can make the decision as to what they want to do, all right?
Sure. Sir, how close did they get, Mr. President? You said they didn't go over.
Say it?
How close did they get? You said the planes did not
Well, I
go
don't want
over.
to talk about that, but if they do put us in a dangerous position, they'll be shut down.
Great. And then on the Hyundai incident in Georgia with the arrest of some workers, construction workers at the plant, have you heard any feedback from Hyundai?
I just heard about that a little while before the news conference, and I would say that they were illegal aliens, and ICE was just doing its job. But I know nothing about the instance. It happened a little while ago. Okay.
There has been some pushback on that, though, from South Korea already, and of course, they pledged to invest $150 billion in the U.S. when they were just here, last week. Are you concerned?
Well, and they have the right to sell cars and things in our country. It's not like a one-sided deal.
Are you concerned at all about, your immigration agenda potentially clashing with these economic goals?
Well, we want to get along with other countries, and we want to have a great, stable workforce. And we had, as I understand it, a lot of illegal aliens, some not the best of people, but we had a lot of illegal aliens working there. So, look, they're doing their job. That's what they have to do. These are people that came through with Biden. They came through illegally. They came into our country, so we have to do our job.